It's a very reassuring way of looking at it, Calvin, because all this transhumanism and scientism I find immensely depressing, because essentially it means, it is saying life is meaningless, whereas a soul given to us by God for reasons of good and, to fight evil for the purpose of good on this earth is an immensely more reassuring way of looking at life, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we are two things, right? We are our bodies and we are our souls. I don't think we can separate those things. It's like these trans people that say, I'm in the wrong body, for example. It's a misunderstanding of what we are as human beings, because we are our body. So you can't be in the wrong body. It doesn't make any logical sense to people that have the faith. But I suppose we have to stop separating ourselves from our body and from our soul if we want to progress as a civilization.
Indeed, very good point. Well, speaking of that, all this rise of artificial intelligence is happening at a particularly dangerous time, in my opinion, when governments are becoming increasingly authoritarian. Do you think our so-called liberal governments might one day be tempted to use all this technology against us?
Oh, absolutely. Look at what's happening now. So the Bank of England has been pushing for a central bank digital currency for a while now, and saying that actually when the government implements it, not if, but when the government implements digital currency, that it will have to be centrally controlled, meaning that the Bank of England could have control over the currency itself. Therefore, with government pressure, or, well, it doesn't matter who's governing it actually, but with decisions being made by people on the currency rather than the market, we could have situations where actually red meat is not good for you. You can no longer spend your currency on red meat, or you can only spend so many credits on red meat per month. Or actually, you spoke out against the climate agenda, net zero. You said something dangerous. You can't spend your money this month. The whole social credit system, but painted in a liberal, progressive way. It's still authoritarianism. It's still totalitarianism. It's still control of our lives, but it's through our money. This is why cash is king, because they cannot control our cash. Well, they can when it's in the bank, but it's tangible. We can hold it. We can trade with each other without third parties monitoring or controlling. And that's what they want. First of all, they want to monitor. They want to see where we're spending our money. But then secondly, they want to control it. And they can push, the next lockdowns, they can say, well, you can't go out because the machines are no longer taking money. You can't spend money in cafes. Your currency is locked. Or the next time they say that the net zero agenda, climate crisis emergency is happening, we can no longer leave our 15-minute cities because your currency will not be able to be spent outside of the area that you live. It just physically won't happen. And then we're buggered.
It's interesting that we are so easily made to feel frightened about artificial intelligence that one day machines might dictate, life to us or cause us immense problems. But nobody seems worried about central bank digital currencies. That would just be a natural progression for currencies. But in fact, that is probably the worst manifestation of artificial intelligence I can think of.
Yeah, because all of these things are boiling the toad in the warm water, aren't they? They keep gradually increasing the temperature. We don't realise what's going on around us. Right now in England, our government is already hiring people to manage these digital currencies. Like, there are already jobs on the government website. Like, they haven't debated whether they're going to use these currencies in the Houses of Parliament, but they're already recruiting people to manage them. This is how this plan is already going ahead. But people always fall for convenience. Right now, only 20% of transactions in this country are using cash because it's so easy to just, pick up your smartphone, beep, and convenience is the sin that leads to every other sin, because we are lazy people and we want what we want it now. We don't want to work for anything, and we've got to stop doing that. We've got to think, actually, what is the good thing? Not what's the easiest thing, what's the good thing to do?
Well, let's end this discussion on this topic, for at least on a positive note. Do you think we are being too paranoid because a machine will never really be human?
A machine will never be human, but they might be more advanced than humans. I don't think we're being too paranoid.
Not the answer I was hoping for.
We've got to be caused.
We've got to be cautious.
We've got to be cautious, but God made humans. We are God ordained. He made us for a reason, to worship Him and to be in a loving relationship with Him. So whatever trash we create on this earth, however bad it gets, we always know we have hope in everlasting salvation in Him. So that's a good thing.